So the only weed I really worry about in the summer with centipede is chamber bitter. You may not know the name of this weed, but you probably definitely recognize it if you have a chamber bitter issue in your lawn, in your centipede lawn. I have some that's starting to grow on the outskirts of my lawn, and you just gotta hope that it doesn't spread into the good parts of the lawn. But this right here has always been an issue. This isn't really part of my lawn, it's more like just kind of like a collection area right outside the beds here. But this stuff right here, this is chamber bitter. Right here. And let me get a good example here. It has not gone to seed yet, but under it is where all the seeds go. They start to grow. And if you mow that and those seeds spread out all over your lawn, it's just gonna multiply. And it gets to be a big problem. And that's really the only weed I really worry about, because it can just take over your centipede lawn. And it's not fun to deal with. The only way that I've found to eradicate them, obviously atrazine works really well as a pre-emergent for chamber bitter, but you have to time it right. You have to use typically 2 applications of atrazine, one in May and one in like June, probably a month apart. And that can help prevent those seeds from germinating, or actually the seeds might germinate, but they hit that barrier and they don't end up growing into a chamber bitter weed. That works well. But if you have not done atrazine, the only product that I've seen that's labeled that's safe in a centipede lawn that takes care of chamber bitter, it's actually labeled for chamber bitter, is Celsius. And I've done a couple videos on Celsius. It is expensive up front, but that's about the only product that's gonna work really well on chamber bitter in a centipede lawn. And what makes chamber bitter so difficult is that it can adapt to like your mowing. So if you're mowing at 1.5 inches, like what centipede likes, that chamber bitter will grow lower than 1.5 inches and stay underneath that mowing height and just spread that way and survive and just stay low. But chamber bitter can also, if it's left to grow by itself, that stuff can get really tall. And so it's just a difficult weed to control with the seeds being underneath the blade like that. And it's difficult to keep from spreading. Once you have some in your lawn, it just likes to spread and spread and spread. So that's really the only weed I worry about in the summer. And if you start to see it in your lawn, I would think about getting that Celsius and taking care of it, because it can become a big issue and kind of take over your centipede lawn. It has in my lawn in the past. A couple years ago, I had a huge problem with chamber bitter, and was kind of uneducated, and I learned a lot of stuff and just really followed labels, and Celsius is about the only thing you can do in addition to that atrazine. That atrazine has worked well for me in the past, and I think that's a big reason why this lawn has not been overtaken with chamber bitter in the last couple years. I still see some in the good parts of the lawn. Every 10 feet or so, there's a little sprout of it. But it's not. A few years ago, this lawn was, parts of it were totally overtaken with chamber bitter. Like, it was almost like that's all it was out here. And so slowly but surely you can manage that. But if you start to see that problem, that's something to be concerned about, and it can take over your lawn and just look really bad. So that's a good tip. And the other weeds that you're gonna see, like, oxalis and maybe a little bit of clover, things like that, I'm not that concerned with. Those are easy to kill. But these difficult weeds like chamber bitter and crabgrass, things like that, Celsius can knock both of those out. And you got to go with the high-end stuff to take care of the tough weeds sometimes. But that's a good tip, and just hope you don't have a chamber bitter issue out there this summer. But you know what to do now if you do. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.